1 in 8 couples struggles with infertility, and 1 in 10 women have PCOS. We are that 1 in 8, and I am that 1 in 10. Hey guys, it's Britt. Welcome back to my channel, or if this is the first video you've ever seen of mine, welcome to my channel. Thank you for watching. Today's video is going to be quite unlike anything I have ever shared or done before. It's a video that's on a little bit more of a serious level, and to be honest, it is kind of scary to be putting this forward for the world because I have no idea who's gonna watch it, and it's a very personal matter. But I think that it is an important story to share. So as you can tell from the title, I'm going to be sharing with you our infertility story and my story with PCOS. Now, some of you might think that I am crazy for putting such a personal thing on the internet, and I kind of agree with you. Ben was a little hesitant to have me share this, but I think that the positives that can come out of this outweigh the fear of sharing something so personal. So just really quickly, there's a couple of reasons why I am deciding to share my story with potentially the world. The first is because through this journey, YouTube has been a huge resource for me. There are so many incredible couples on YouTube that have shared their story, and they have made this process so much easier for me, because I was able to see what other people were going through. Having people on YouTube to watch has been huge for me. So I'm kind of hoping that putting my story out there, if someone stumbles across it, they're in the same boat as me, it can be helpful for them. I also think that it's really important to speak up about infertility. For whatever reason, it's kind of one of those taboo subjects. And I don't really think it should be, because 1 in 8 couples is a lot. That is somebody that you know. That is a lot of couples that are going through this, and it seems to be kind of kept secret. I'm also sharing my story so that I can hopefully have a success story and look back on this someday when we have our kiddos and we look at everything we went through and just remember the journey that it took to start our family. And then lastly, the reason I've decided to share this story is for my subscribers. The majority of you I don't know personally, and you take the time out of your day to watch my videos and what I create. And honestly, that means a lot to me because why me? Why are you choosing to watch me? And so I've learned through all the YouTubers I watch that I personally prefer to watch the ones that I seem to have this personal connection with, the ones that, do open up about their lives, the ones that are transparent about their lives, the ones that share things with their viewers. And so I'm choosing to do that because you guys that watch my videos take the time out of your lives. You deserve to know a little bit more about me on a personal level than just what my favorite lipstick is, So with that long intro, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into my story. I think that I'm going to split this into 2 videos because it is probably gonna be pretty lengthy. So this first video is going to be my journey of discovering I have PCOS and kind of what it took to get there. So how did I find out I have PCOS, which ultimately led me to find out about my infertility? I had been on some form of birth control for about 9 or so years. After Ben and I got married in September 2015, I decided that I had honestly just been on birth control for so long, I was sick of it. I was like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. It's been so long. So in October 2015, I decided to get off of birth control. At that time, we were not really ready to start a family. We weren't trying to start a family, but we of course know if you're not using birth control, then that's how babies are made. And so we knew that if it were to happen, it would be okay, but it's not like we were trying. We weren't tracking ovulation, we weren't, all the things that go into trying to make a baby, we were not doing. So I got off birth control in October 2015. A couple months went by and I didn't get my period. But from everything that I had researched, that was very normal. Getting off birth control, sometimes it takes a few months. And then in January, I did get a period. And I apologize in advance if anything is TMI, but that's kind of what you get when you watch anything infertility, pregnancy related. That's just kind of what goes along with it. So anyways, I got a period in January. Everything seemed very normal. I thought that my cycle would start back up. My cycle was always always very normal on birth control. Granted, you kind of have a fake period on birth control, but it was still very regular. And those many years back before I was on birth control, I had a very, very regular period. So I expected after that first period that everything would go back to normal. And the next month went by and I didn't get a period. And I thought, okay, well, maybe my body is still just, you know, reacting to getting off birth control. It's just gonna take a while to regulate. Next month goes by, I don't get a period. Next month goes by, I don't get a period. Next month goes by, I don't get a period. And this whole time I'm thinking, wow, I am never going on birth control again. Look at how much it screwed up my body. Like, wow, thank God I didn't wait to get off birth control until we were going to have a baby, because look at how long it's taking my body to regulate itself. So June comes along and I had been off birth control since October and had only had one period. So at that point I was like, okay, it's probably time to ask a doctor to figure out what's going on. So I saw my doctor and she said, yeah, you know, this can happen with birth control. I'm gonna give you this medication, Provera, which you take and it essentially gives you a fake period. You don't ovulate on it, it just makes you bleed like a period, you know, and it's supposed to then reset your system, reset ovulation. After you get that fake period, everything should go back to normal. So I took the Provera, I got that fake period, and then a month later, when my system should have reset, I should have gotten that period again. No period. I have to sneeze. Okay, another month goes by, I don't have a period. So I reach out to that doctor again. She says, try Provera one more time. Let's see if you can, you know, restart your system. Try it one more time, no period. At that time, I had changed jobs, and so therefore my insurance changed and I had to get a different doctor. It was now September. It had been almost a year since I got off birth control and I had had only one period. So I go to my new doctor, who is now my current doctor, and I take Ben with me because at this point now, we're in September, and you know, it's been about a year since we got off birth control. At that point, we weren't ready for a family, but now we're starting to think about that. We're starting to think, you know, maybe we want to start trying for a family here in a few months. We really need to get this figured out. We need to get my periods back. We need to get it figured out. So I take him with me to this appointment. She says, yes, it could be birth control related. You know, you can just let it go and see if you get your period again, or we can try another round of Provera and see if it works. And I said, okay, well, let's do that, because I don't really just want to wait around. Like, now I'm starting to get serious about getting this figured out. And she said, okay, take the Provera, make an appointment for 6 weeks time, at which point you should have had a period if you were going to, and get some blood work done in the meantime. So I take the Provera. What do you know? I don't get a period as suspected, and I get my blood work done. We go back to our appointment 6 weeks later. This is now November, and she says, your blood work all checked out. Everything looks completely normal on that front. We can just keep waiting for your period, or if you really want to get serious about starting a family, we now might need to look into fertility treatments. Still thinking that this might be birth control related, but she says, before we do any of that, before we make any decisions, let's do an ultrasound just to see if there's anything going on. So we do an ultrasound, a transvaginal ultrasound, which if you are not familiar with, goes inside you, and it's not the most comfortable thing ever, but it's so that they can get a real close look at your uterus and ovaries and all of that good stuff. So we go in, we get an ultrasound done. She looks at my uterus. She said, your uterus looks completely normal, perfectly healthy, just like it should. And then she goes to the ovaries and she says, okay, this is kind of what I suspected. By this point, I had kind of thought on my own that it might be PCOS, because not only was my periods missing, but I had horrendous acne, which I've talked about before, which the birth control had masked for many years. I had great skin. I had great skin for many years because the birth control leveled out my hormones and gave me, you know, normal skin. And so once I got off that birth control, my skin went completely haywire. And if you don't know, acne is one of the primary symptoms of PCOS. I had also been following Ellie and Jared, which I'll link their channels here. I had watched their infertility journey long before I ever even knew this was something that I was going to go through. And my mind had immediately gone to them and said, Ellie had PCOS. Ellie went through fertility treatments. Like, could this be what I have had? And so she says, do you see all of those little spots on your ovaries? Those are extra follicles that shouldn't be there. That's PCOS. She said it's a relatively mild case, but you have PCOS. And, you know, when I first heard that, I again immediately thought to Ellie and Jared and thought, okay, I've seen a couple go through this. I have seen what goes on to treat infertility, you know, what that journey kind of looks like, and I have seen that they beat infertility. And so that's all running through my head in this initial diagnosis, and I'm not really too worried about it, I guess. I don't know. It was kind of like, it took a while to sink in that my biggest goal in life ever is to be a mom. All I've ever wanted is to be a mom. And you know, you hear about infertility all the time, but you also hear about, you know, growing up, how easy it is to get pregnant. And you never think that it's going to be anything else than easy. So it took a little while to soak in, to be like, wait a second, this is the thing that I've wanted more than anything, and it's going to be a struggle for me. I'm not going to be able to do it on my own. There is something wrong in my body that is going to prevent me from having children on my own. And that took a while to sink in. And once it sunk in, was a little bit scary because, like I said, you hear how easy it is to get pregnant. And it's not that way for everyone, and you never think that it's going to be you until it is. So I got my diagnosis with PCOS, and she said, all right, well, we can wait and hope that you ovulate on your own, but it might be another year until you get a period. It might be never. So she said, I suggest, if you're serious about starting a family, doing fertility medication. And so that's where I'm going to stop this story. My next video will be then going into what we've done since we got that diagnosis, our journey on fertility medication, what comes next. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel so that you can be notified when I post that video. I'm not going to like drag it on. It'll be my next video. I just wanted to break it up because it is so long. Thank you guys for watching part 1, and I will see you guys in part 2 of my infertility story. Bye.